सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Yesterday we saw up until the 24th shloka. Today we will start with the 25th shloka. Please repeat after me. Can you all hear me? Is it clear? Chandramohan, కొంచెం వాల్యూమ్ పెంచావు. Hari Om. Can hear now? So please repeat after me the 25th shloka, page number 60. Sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसंग्रहम्। When we look into the field of activity, both the realized one and the one who is attached to the field of action look very similar. There is one very senior Swamiji, Swami Atma Chaitanya. He lives in Kerala. So he had once told us this story that very early when the Brahmachari course, the first Brahmachari course was done, and Gurudev had come back to his native town, Ernakulam. Hearing that their old friend now has become a famous Swami, all his schoolmates had come to meet him. And they did not know exactly what the different timings that he was busy or engaged in. At least 2-3 times in the day when they came to meet him, they were told that he is busy, he is going to a morning class, he has come back, he is busy with his breakfast or something or the other, that very mundane things that he was engaged in. So by the afternoon they found the time and Swamiji also was eager to meet them. They all met. They had a lot of conversations. One of them, it seems, asked, "You also look like doing the same things like we are doing. What is so great and different about you doing and we doing?" It looks very similar. First time we came, you were taking a shower, we also take shower. You were taking breakfast, we also take breakfast. You also had an afternoon nap, we also have an afternoon nap. What big difference is that? You are not doing something spectacularly unique. So it seems Gurudev said to them that the only difference is when I am taking shower, I only take shower. When I am having my breakfast, I only have breakfast. When I am giving the pravachan, I only am engaged in that pravachan. The mind does not waver here and there. It is just engaged in that present moment. Though it looks very similar, and yet it is worlds apart. How many times doesn't it happen that we are sitting here physically, but our minds have already gone out? Specifically, when an example is given, through that example window, people go out. Now, how do I know sitting here? See, when there is eyes which are engaged in the conversation, there is one kind of a look in the eye. The intensity is different. Sometimes when the eyes are open, it is looking at me but through me. The focal point is not here, but it is somewhere behind me. That means that person has already gone through. We sit here and yet our minds go everywhere. So that differentiation is being said here. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata. The avidvamsaha, the one who is not realized, the one who is attached to their body, mind and intellect, the one who is being the kartrutva and bhoktrutva, such avidvamsaha, the unintelligent one, the ignorant one, they, when they perform, they are constantly in a state of agitation, either about the past or about the future or confused in the present. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha. Whereas vidvamsaha kuryat, they also seem to be doing the exact similar kind of actions. But what is the subtle difference? Asaktaha chikishuhu loka sangraham. They seem to be unattached. Now, what does it mean that the mind is unattached? Because the mind, as soon as it is awake, it needs a field to function in. In fact, the very definition of mind, manaha, is constant flow of thoughts. If you are awake, the mind will be constantly engaged in one or the other type of thought patterns. So when somebody complains, Swamiji, there are too many thoughts. Congratulations, you have a functional mind. The problem is not about the functionality of the mind. Is it in my control? Am I able to channelize it into the very direction where I want it to function in? That is the problem. So even the realized person, when they have to function in the world, they have to have the mind to function in. So many schools of thought, they say that our purpose of spirituality is to reach to a no mind state. If you have to reach to a no mind state, there is an easy method. You don't have to do any sadhana. Eat nice curd rice. If required, have a nice lemon pickle also with it. What do you call those chilies soaked in buttermilk? Uppu mirapkai also nicely roasted. Have that also as a side. Eat sumptuously. You sleep. What happens in sleep? There is no mind state. The purpose of spirituality is not to reach to a no mind state. Just like when you have a cell phone, the cell phone to be utilized, you need an operating system. Even the computer requires an operating system. Either it has to be a Windows operating system or an iOS, the Apple product, or a Linux system. One of these systems has to be there for it to function. Similarly, in the cell phones, you have Android or Apple or other than that, I don't see. Maybe Linux. So you have 3 operating systems. Without that operating system, you cannot function. Similarly, to interact with the world outside, every individual requires a mind. For a realized one and for the unrealized one, the difference being, for the unrealized, the mind keeps running into the field without having any control over it. It goes in its own way. When it goes, why it goes, how it goes, we have no clue. When you ask somebody who is ignorant as to why are you getting so frustrated, I don't know, I am frustrated. Wish I had the control to control it and not get frustrated, but it is frustrated right now. And don't tell me to be not frustrated, because I will get even more frustrated. కోపం తెచ్చుకోకు అని కోపం వచ్చేవాడికి చెప్తే వాడికి ఇంకా కోపం వండుకొస్తుంది. But whereas for the realized one, that instrument is not being engaged in baser things of life. First aspect. Second, even in those that which is meaningful, which is nobler, it is their choice of using that equipment in that direction. How long it has to be used, when it has to be stopped, when it has to be withdrawn, and when it is withdrawn, there is no reminiscence of that mind being engaged in that field. Whenever we get angry, do you think that angry moment with that situation gone, it stops? It is simmering. From that environment where you got angry, you move to other situations, you are still fuming from inside. You are just waiting for somebody to ask, क्या हुआ? ऐसे क्यों दिख रहे हो? The whole pent up feeling comes out again. The whole day you will be simmering in the same thing. We do not know how to snap out of it. Whereas this person who is realized knows when to apply it, where to apply it. Having applied it, it is also withdrawn, and there are no reminiscent effects of that where they were engaged in back into the system. So what is that nobler thing that they are engaged in? Chikishuhu loka sangraham. Whatever they are engaged in, there are 2 ways to understand this sentence. Whatever they are engaged in is for the welfare of the society. Their very engagement into the society makes it welfare of the society. Either the intent is for the welfare of the society, or they just merely engaging it makes it as the welfare of the society. Both ways it can be applicable. Chikishuhu loka sangraham. So here, that famous statement, there are 2 kinds of people in this world who can give us happiness. Those who come to give us happiness and those who go to give us happiness. Both these people give us happiness. Avidvamsaha when they leave, Vidvamsaha when they come. Because their impact is to uplift everybody around them without anticipating anything from them. If this difference is understood, how do they deal, this man of wisdom, with people around them? So that is given very beautifully. Na buddhi vedam janayet अज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरेत. Both समाचरेत और समाचरण, there is a पाठांतर, it means the same. न बुद्धि भेदम जनयेत अज्ञानाम कर्म संगिनाम जोषयेत सर्व कर्माणि विद्वान युक्तः समाचरेत और समाचरण. This person of wisdom, when they are dealing with the field of outside, they do not create a layer of added confusion into those who are already tormented with their own confusions. Na buddhi bhedam janayet. They do not create an unnecessary layer of confusion into those that are ignorantly going into the field of action for their own attachments to be fulfilled. A good example will clearly give us the idea of it. Though Gurudev stood for knowledge, wisdom, when people came with different intensities, there were a couple of them, there are actually a couple that attended the entire Vedanta course. This is during Gurudev's time. And after having attended the entire Vedanta course, 2 years, they came to Pujya Gurudev and said, Swamiji, inspired by this 2 years, we would like to go back to Chennai and start a good seva activity. So Gurudev, it seems, laughed encouragingly. He said, of course you should. And then he said, after listening to 2 years of nakarmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amrutatva manashuhu, if your vasana pressures you to go do that seva, that is where you should begin from. What has been the 2-year message? That engaging in the field of action has to be done without attachment and taking to that level wherein the mind can be withdrawn easily. Having heard that, if the first choice that comes is to go back to that world and engage again, na buddhi vedan janayet. What are you guys doing? Is this what Vedanta you have learnt? They will not create a confusion. But instead, whatever is their intensity, because those 2 doctors wanted to go back, they were doctors, they wanted to go back and be the doctors. He said, while you want to be the doctors, how about turning that very act of being a doctor into seva, thereby giving their vasana a field of action and yet uplifting them. Another doctor approached Pujya Gurudev. She was a pediatrician, very young, came to Gurudev when he was in Siddhabari and saw the plight of the environment that around villages, and she said, Swamiji, yahan kuch to karna chahiye hame. Gurudev said, stay back in the ashram, study the nearby villages, come back with a plan of action as to what can be accomplished as an act of seva to those people. Those of us who have been to Siddhabari, you know exactly who I am talking about. Her name is Kshama Maitre. We call her lovingly as Kshama Didi. Gurudev said, stay back in Siddhabari and now build up a service-oriented structure so that you can serve these village people, and that inspiration transformed into about 700 plus villages. For that very act of hers, I think the Indian government has awarded her with a Padma award. It is Padma Shri? Okay. A Padma Shri. Joshayet sarva karmani. Engage them, but while engaging them, uplift them into the higher way of living, rather than trying to suddenly block. What will happen when suddenly blocked? There is a gush of vasanas that have trying to express. If there is a river which is on floods and you suddenly put a dam and do not give a vent for that dam to channelize that water, what will happen to that dam? The dam will be dammed. It will crack up, it will break. Similarly is the internal psychological emotional field, that it has to be provided a field. Joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktaha samacharan. Thereby they become the inspiration for everybody, that they understand what talent, potential, skill sets that they have and provide them the clarity in that particular field to uplift themselves. Having thus expressed it in the act of seva, such individual now finds that peace within, and in that peace they can reach within to the highest. Joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktas samacharan. Why should this be done? That reasoning is given here. See, Bhagavan Krishna, the most beautiful part is how logically he constructs every single step. He said you should encourage them in the field of their talent, potential and skill, because they are attached to the karma. Why should they be encouraged? That reasoning is given in the 27th shloka. Prakrite kriyamanani gunaih karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. What is this individual running into the field of action technically mean? What is the baseline for its understanding? So he says, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah. Whoever is functioning in the field of action, what is happening? Prakritehe gunaihi kriyamanani. It is the Prakriti's gunas. The nature expresses at each individual as 3 gunas. Tamasic, Rajasic and Sattvic. Tamasic nature is of the dullness, laziness, lethargic, not sharp in understanding. So you can put all of that into tamasic. Rajasic is they are active. In fact, they should say they are overactive. They cannot sit quiet. And they want to constantly accomplish various things. Underneath every such endeavor to accomplish, there is a very strong ego that they are doing it for that selfishness of their ego satisfaction. Rajasic. But they are active. Sattvic are those that are peaceful, composed, comprehensive thinkers, elegant workers. They also work. But when they work, everybody seeing appreciates the finesse with which they work. Anything that they do, there is a mark of difference that whatever is the output that they are bringing in is appreciable. It's so beautiful that the way they present things. Whether they carry themselves, how they maintain their room, how they carry and talk. There is an elegance in that. Having said this, I should also warn here, just because I have defined the tamasic, rajasic and sattvic in this way, we should not come to understand that that is the only way to understand sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Each one of us requires tamasic guna. Without the tamasic guna in us, we cannot fall asleep. Without rajasic guna, we will not be able to even maintain our physical aspect. Without sattvic aspect, we cannot maintain a sense of peace, sense of gratitude within our heart. What happens? Each one of us fluctuates between the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic throughout the day. Generically speaking, after a good night's sleep, when we wake up, body is fresh, mind is fresh, you are at peace. We start on a sattvic note. As the sun rises up, we are engaged into the field of action. Rajasic is up. By the time sun sets, I come back home, sit in my sofa, had my dinner. People in the house are trying to speak, they are having a conversation, and you are already withdrawing because tamasic is taking over. So we do fluctuate. See, when I go to the schools, colleges to address them, somehow uniformly all colleges give the 3 to 4 o'clock 1 hour. And I keep requesting them, can it happen before lunch? 3 to 4 they have already signed off from the college. 3 to 4 they have already signed off from their own mind. After a whole day and a lunch, they sit, and what happens? Naturally, it is not the effect of satsanga. It is the effect of the whole day's work. They are already drifting into tamasic nature. Sometimes it happens here also. Specifically when there are couples, it is fun to watch. One of them is falling asleep and the other one is feeling a little awkward, pinches the other fellow to wake up. यहां से सब कुछ दिखता है, विश्वरूप दर्शनम. The first time somebody slept in my class, I felt very bad. That maybe I am so boring that that person is sleeping away. But soon I grew out of it, because immediately 2 days after something, the person who was sleeping started snoring. I thought sleeping was much better than snoring. Imagine, ये मैं चिल्ला चिल्ला के बात कर रहा हूं and it feels like a lullaby for him. During the day, we fluctuate between these 3 gunas. This is in the activity. Even in the attitude, we have sattvic attitude, rajasic attitude, tamasic attitude. When some action is to be done, when some responsibility is to be fulfilled, there is first reaction is to reject, to avoid, to not participate, to show as to how it cannot be done. ठीक है स्वामी जी, नहीं होगा, है ना? That is the reaction. Tamasic. Rajasic, even before you have completed the statement, they are like jumpy. Can I jump into action? रुको, मैंने complete नहीं किया है. Like you ask them, आज तुझे, you have to go to that person's house. That person already starts saying, अरे सुन के तो जाओ. What are you going there for? Please understand. The fellow is eager to jump in. Attitude, Rajasic attitude. Sattvic attitude, comprehensively understand, clarify if there is any confusion. After the thing is accomplished, report back and say what has been done, what has not been done. All this, when you read Mahabharata, Ramayana, you see each character, how they react, you can understand their mindset, their behavior, their actions. Not to label them, so that it gives us the clarity as to how we function. Prakrutehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah. Every single action out there that we perform is born out of one of these three gunas. Now, what should be the sadhana? The sadhana should be that most of our thinking, decision, ideas, ideals should be born not as a knee-jerk effect, but from a sattvic processing. When the mind is engaged into the outside field, it is guided by that sattvic internal compass. And when necessary, the body has to be given rest for the purpose of rejuvenating, so that you can come back into the field of activity more vitalized. There is a good comprehensive samyukta acharana. That is what we have to reach to. But then, what does the Ajnani, what do they do? Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. Instead of seeing that the mind which is having these three qualities, jumping into that field, they assume the quality of that mind and intellect as theirs, and thereby take the credit or discredit of what they have done or not done. The example that can be taken is, if you are cutting vegetables, the knife is sharp. Just because you are holding the knife which is sharp, do you become sharp? Sound mein aa raha? The equipment is sharp, or the equipment is dull, as the case may be. If the knife is dull, does it mean that you are dull? To pull legs, we all carry smartphone. Does it mean the one who is carrying is smart because they have a smartphone? It is the nature of that equipment. Vimudhatma considers the equipment and its qualities as its own. At the physical level, at the emotional level, at the intellectual level. I am tall, I am handsome, I am beautiful, I am attracted, I am attractive. All these physical attributes, I am that. It is the body. The mind is, endowed with such beautiful emotions. I am emotionally very qualified. The intellect is sharp. I am sharp. There are people who claim, when they are doing something and it falls, they fluster. They do claim, I'm sorry, I am a bit clumsy. Clumsiness is of that intellect which cannot comprehend things together and put the act together. But then those attributes of these organs of perception, action, mind and intellect, I assume them to be mine and behave as though I am whatever are the attributes. If this is understood, a practical application. When the mind is sad, I become sad. When the mind is bad, I become bad. When the mind is glad, I become glad. The sad, mad, glad, bad, all of these are the attributes of the mind. But then I assume it as mine. Just because there is that thought or emotion, do I have to become that thought? I can evaluate it and function that mind out into that particular field without that attachment. Just like how we drive our vehicle. The first time you buy that vehicle, new, every day, 10 minutes before you want to go, you go with a cloth. Nicely wipe, shine. Driving in Hyderabad, I have not seen two vehicles that do not have a scratch or a dent. The first scratch on the vehicle, how we cringe from inside. Why? It almost feels as though that has been scratched on me. By the time you get acclimatized and it has become old, all that matters is, does it take me from point A to point B? How many scratches, how many dents, how is it inside, outside? Many times when I am carried, somebody kind-hearted gives me a lift. First thing they say, Swamiji, don't mind the cluster and the unclean environment in the car. We have kids, so बहुत कुछ होता है. Please don't mind it. Even if it is not clean, they're unmindful. They just a vehicle, it has to be a mode of transport, they will use it. The utility is seen. But with respect to this body, mind and intellect, ahankari, vimudhatma, identified with the body, mind and intellect, thinks the attributes of this mind and intellect as their own attribute. Whereas the one that is realized sees it as the functionality of that instrument and expresses it as required and withdraws it when it is not required. Knowing that is how the field of action actually transpires. That difference. Now the Vimudhatma has said, the Tattvavit, how do they function? So that clarity is given in the 28th shloka. Repeat after me. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. In your books, there is no print mistake. It would say vartanta, but then the A is dropped when it is followed by E. Therefore, when we do the sandhi vicheda there, we have to add that A. Otherwise, there is no print mistake. Tattvavittu mahabaho. We have to also pay attention to what Bhagavan Krishna addresses Arjuna with different names. Arjuna was a man of action, quite successful at that. That wherever he went, he got lot of wealth and victory every single time. When you talk of, say, tennis players or boxers, they would say that there is a count given, KO, meaning knockouts. When they were in the competition, what was the knockout comparison? 34 out of 35 knockouts, meaning they went and came out 34 times of the 35 times winning the game. If Arjuna's life and his efforts to be put, it would be 100 out of 100. He was that successful a warrior. Now, just like the mind which is dull, you are identified with it now, feeling that you are dull, you are actually a man of action. You are a man of inspiration to others. People call you Mahabahu. There are several Bahubalis. Amongst them, you are Mahabahu. So, such Arjuna, meaning what? Bhagavan is trying to kindle that understanding of Arjuna, that glory of Arjuna, which he has forgotten temporarily. In the court of law, they say, temporary loss of memory. Therefore, temporary insanity. When you get completely drawn into that emotion, sometimes you lose track of the reality. Arjuna also. So, he is trying to rekindle that by addressing him Mahabahu. See, many times you don't have to give a message as a lengthy lecture to our children. The way we address them should be sufficient. But what to do? In our own anger and frustration, control nahi hota hai. Buddhu, Bevkoof. The same thing can be addressed in a different way. Bhagavan is not showing any amount of frustration. He in fact knows what Arjuna is and he is reminding him by that name what his true glory is. Hey Mahabaho, Tattvavit, those who have realized. Having realized, they understand Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Karma, the field of activity, is run according to the guna. Those who are attached to the body, mind and intellect, they do not have any control. Whereas these people know how to draw what energy, what guna, in what field. A very good example, during the same time as Swami Vivekananda ji, just about 3 years or 4 years after Vivekananda ji, there was another Mahatma who travelled to the West. His name is Swami Ramatirtha. His collection of work is called In the Woods of God Realization. He was quite flawless in almost 4 languages. Hindi, English, Urdu, Parsi. He could speak, write and deliver poetry and on demand. So he went first time to America. He also got acquainted with somebody on the boat, on the ship, and they were enamored by his presence. They invited him. He didn't have anybody there. On the boat, the contact that he had, they invited him to host him for the first time. I think he was in Boston. The athletic team of USA was preparing for Olympics. The host took Swami Ramatirtha to that training session into that stadium, and these people were running. Swami Ramatirtha, seeing this for the first time, turned to the host and said, "Who is chasing them? You usually run when somebody is chasing. There seems to be nobody chasing them. Why are they running?" So the host explained that this is a competition. It is about the athleticism, that who can run the fastest in this short burst of 100 meters. And he said, "Is that it?" The players saw him. First of all, they were attracted that somebody who was not looking like them, an Indian, was speaking an amazing chaste English. So they got the attention. Having reached to him, and when he kept saying, "Oh, is that it?" they took little offense to it. "What, do you think it is easy? We have been practicing for the last 3 years. We have beaten up so many other competitors to reach to this, to be selected into the team of US. Do you think you can do it?" And Swami Rama was like, unafraid, he said, "Sure, maybe I can." So they challenged him. And they wanted to give him shoes and pants and shorts to change. He said, "No, not required." 100 मीटर के लिए क्या change करना? Bare feet, he ran with them and he came third. Then somebody asked him, "You must have been an athlete in your earlier whatever endeavors." He said, "No, this is the first time I'm running like a mad fellow." "Well, how did you do it?" He said, "Nothing simple. I had to draw all my Rajasic Shakti and put it into this act. I had the clarity of what to be done because of my Sattvic energy. I had to now draw all the Rajasic, put it into this particular act, and I gave it my everything." That is the difference. To know what Shakti or what Guna to be used where, how much, and they apply it and they know how to withdraw from it. Guna karma vibhagashaha. Because they understand Guna guneshu vartante. The Guna of the mind equates or tunes into the Guna of the Prakriti and then expresses itself. They know how to tap this Guna Shakti, which is already existing in each one of us. But for us, we swing according to the mood. Swamiji, lot of mood swings these days. I love that word. The first part I understand in Sanskritam, the second part I understand in English. Moodha swings. Therefore, they have mood swings. Now I used it in Telugu and English. Mood rakhala swings. Sattvic swing, Rajasic swing, Tamasic swing. And none of them under control. When they have to engage themselves into something Sattvic, Tamas takes over. When they have to engage themselves into something Rajasic, Sattvic takes over. When they have to be Sattvic or when they have to be Tamasic, Rajas takes over. I'm just giving examples. When they have to sleep, Tamas has to be invoked. That is the time they are wide awake, tossing like dosa, this side, that side, constantly twisting, turning. Neend hi nahi aata. That when they have to put their complete effort into the Rajasic field, they become philosophical. इस चीज में क्या रखा है? Anyway, this is all Nashvara, Ashashvata, Kaam to kar. They become philosophical in a wrong timing. That where they have to be sattvic. For example, in satsanga, the mind has to be raised to that sattvic nature. Tamas takes over. Time. They have the gunas, but they are not timed properly, controlled properly. They swing according to the guna. Moodha swings, moodu swings. Moodu means three kinds of swings. Therefore, mood swings. That is the nature of this aviveki. But whereas the Tattvavit knows precisely when to invoke what guna and apply it. Our own Guruji, Swami Chinmayananda, I have given this example several times. He came to Vijayawada, I was a brahmachari there. He came to Vijayawada from Dubai directly. So he landed in Bombay, took a flight directly to Vijayawada, and then we picked him up. And he arrived early in the morning, say around 5:30. So 6 o'clock he was at the host house. He greeted everybody, those who had come to welcome him. And then he said, I will not take shower right now. I have to sleep. And then he looked at me. He said, 45 minutes, wake me up. And you could see in his face, all the tiredness, the time zones difference and all of that. You could see his tiredness. So I sat outside his room. 45 minutes went by. I was like thinking I was being compassionate. I said, let me not disturb him. Let me have few more minutes of sleep. Timed. 46th minute, he opens the door. Because I tucked him in. 46th minute, I told you to come inside after 45 minutes. Time ho gaya, andar aao. 45 minutes, he invoked that tamas, slept. By the 46th minute, he was up. Knowing how to invoke which guna at what time. That is called self-control. Control of the self on these gunas. Not swinging according to whenever it rises, however it rises. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. They are not trampled by the gunas. They are the ones that know how to use the gunas. Continuing, 29th shloka. Prakriter guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tana kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. Prakritehe guna sammudhaha, those who are entwined, immersed in this hop chop of the gunas, that they do not have any control over it. Prakritehe guna sammudhaha. Sajjante guna karmasu, they are attached very much to their guna and karma thereof. Why? Because the karma yields a certain thing that they are expecting, and in order to fulfill that, they will slog in that field. Tan, such, akritsna vidaha. Akritsna vidaha, those who do not understand the schematics of this guna and its functioning, meaning they are ignorant of this functioning. Akritsna vidaha. Mandan. Mandan, direct meaning is dense. Indirect meaning, such foolish people. Mandan. Kritsnavit, those who have found that perfect understanding and balance. Na vichalayet, they do not create confusion or disturbance in such people. A very beautiful message. Whenever I go for team building activities in the corporate or even in our teachers, when the team building has to be done, I take this shloka as the baseline. Understand who they are and what their mindsets are. Having understood where they are coming from, you cannot directly transport everybody into sattvic nature and beyond. Impossible. Those that are, for whatever reasons, are in heavy tamasic setup, inspire them to be rajasic. Every company does this. The freshers, when they come, their first meeting that they have, training session that they will have it in some 5-star hotel, a big, conference room. Ekdam alishan. The mind is boggled. Whoa, we are new and they have brought us to this beautiful arena. Top-notch food, top-notch everything being served. I mean, the fresher who comes and this is the treatment that they get, they're like, unke aankhon mein ek chamak. Coming totally from a tamasic mindset, this is the carrot that you dangle for the tamasic, that this is what you will get. By the 2 days end, they're like, if we want this treatment again and again, they'll now ready. What do we need to do? So what do the companies say? You have this target. You have this sales target. You have this manufacturing target, whatever be the target. You cross this target, next year you can also participate. This will be yours. Tamasic is been enticed into Rajasic. Rajasic have to be channelized towards Sattvic. And those who have a comprehensive Sattvic nature, they can be guided into beyond the 3 gunas. You cannot directly go confuse people, that those who are in Tamasic, to go beyond the 3 gunas. It is impossible. Therefore, remember, when you read works of Swami Vivekananda, he says, better than having 600 people of good for nothing people, I would rather have a team of 12 people who know how to play football sincerely on the football field. Meaning those who are tamasic, even if they are in huge numbers, will not yield any result. Rather than those people that are there on the field, they can exert their rajasic, they can be guided into sattvic. So understanding the environment, understanding the people, this man of wisdom does not create a ripple of disturbance. Another subtle aspect here, if you do want to bring a change, you have to get down to their level and traverse along with them in their own direction and then slowly mend their ways towards the higher. You cannot suddenly stop it. If somebody is going from here to Vijayawada and they have just crossed Patancheru. Vijayawada is that side, Vanasthalipuram and there. Where have they crossed? Patancheru, the other side. And they stop at a gas station. I said, how much more to get into the highway towards Vijayawada? Technically, earth is round. एक ना एक दिन तो पहुंचोगे. But then you are in the wrong direction. Now, those who are even asking the direction, they understand the moment I am going in wrong direction, I cannot stop driving. But instead, now I have to change the direction of my driving. Similarly, those who are in tamasic have to be inspired to get into rajasic. Those who are in rajasic towards sattvic. Therefore, in the Yuva Kendra, Gurudev's motto for the youth to transform individuals through dynamic spirituality. What does dynamic spirituality mean? From tamasic, haywired kind of thinking, bring them to a purposeful rajasic endeavor, into an active endeavor, which gives them an immense sense of fulfillment, immense sense of association, connection and identity, and then transform them into sattvic. For that, you have to get down to their level and then swim along to the direction that they can actually be uplifted. You cannot be like suddenly stop the flow. सब गलत कर रहे हो, ठीक है गलत कर रहे हैं, तो उसको सीधा करने के लिए there has to be some method. This is what in the Chanakya Niti he says, Sama, Dana, Danda, Bhedopaya. You have to understand which technique will apply to where. I mean, as a mother, when you are dealing with your children, it is not one standpoint every single time, right? Sometimes lad pyar, you pamper them a little with love. Sometimes strict prohibition. Take away the cell phone, take away the pad, take away the focus, study now. Otherwise, everything will be gone. करते हो कि नहीं? किया है कि नहीं? Sometimes straight away threatening. Do it if not. Usually the mothers I have seen. See, when I go for yajnas and I'm hosted at houses, I'm just a silent witness on the backdrop. Once the children were doing a lot of masti, the mother says to the children, listen and get back to your activity. You're doing a lot of masti. I will tell your father as soon as he steps in the home. Tab bajega tumhara. Immediately everybody like, oh, okay, fine. Papa ko mat bolna. Threat of danda. Whichever method. But one has to understand where they are coming from. Therefore, these masters, they say, in Bhajagovindam, Shankaracharya says, Bala Unmattavat. When they are with children, they become children. When they are with adults, they become very somber. And when they are with people that are intoxicated in the higher, they are also in that field. What do we do when we go with children? We become adult. When we are with adults, we want the attention, we become the children. When with that age, you become that. That is when they will accept. Once they have accepted, then you can transform. Tana kritsna vido mandan, kritsna vinna vichalayet. Therefore, now all the concepts said, what are the doables? What should we do? So Bhagavan gives a very beautiful, mark this shloka just like you marked Yadyada Charati Sreshtaha. This also is the very beautiful, pragmatic, step-by-step method of practice as sadhana. He says in the 30th shloka, repeat after me. Mayi sarvani karmani Sanyasyadhyatma-chetasa. Sanyasyadhyatma-chetasa. You're almost there. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. The word there is sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. So when you break it down, it becomes easy to pronounce. So what is the solution? How do we prepare to reach to that place wherein we can control the guna and use the guna rather than being used by the guna? Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. What a beautiful method. He says, how does one grow beyond the egoistic way of life? See, he is not asking to completely transform into highest sattvic state, but instead, the mind is being channelized to the next step of greater height. So, to the ego, it requires a field that it can associate with. Instead of functioning in the field of action as the ego, that ego is given a higher dimension to connect with. It says, wherever you are working, you don't have to change your lifestyle, you don't have to change your ways of life. Instead, whatever you are working, work with the attitude that you are working for Bhagavan. It is not that difficult. Whenever you get angry with your children, there are some common dialogues every parent uses with every child. Don't we say to the children that I am slogging, I am working day in and day out for you, your sake, your welfare, your upliftment. Truly the parent does do that, don't we? That wherever that we are working, however that we are working, every single act that we are putting is for the welfare and well-being of our children. The only flaw there is we ruin that amazing act of dedication by expecting it from the children immediately. They will realize and they will come back to give multifold. But then we want that change and look at that change immediately. But we do transform our lifestyle in bringing the best and dedicating our resources for their welfare. So we do have a practice of doing the action, dedicating it to something higher. The other day, I was listening to the radio while going in the car. The radio turned on. So there was some show wherein people call in and the radio jockey takes the call and those people ask for a song to be played so that they can dedicate that song to their loved ones for their birthday, for their anniversary, for their this, that. You have also heard such programs? Right? So that kept me wondering my rest of the trip from here to Vijayawada drive. So rest of the trip I kept thinking, what a farce. Farce meaning nakli banavati. Can I ever donate or dedicate money from your pocket without asking and say, I am here dedicating it to Bhagavan? Can I do that? Yes, no, cannot do that. What will it be called? Dongatanam, right? Because I don't own it. When these people are dedicating the song, what aspect of the song is your contribution? Have you written the lyrics? Have you put the music to it? Have you sung in it? Have you produced it? Have you edited it? Have you publicized it? Nothing. No aspect of that song belongs to you. And yet, we have the audacity to say, I want to dedicate this song to my loved one. It is their birthday today. What do you mean that you are dedicating that which is not yours to your loved one? Probably that song means something to both of you. You both must have heard it together. You both must have an experience listening to that song, or something must have transpired for that song to have a certain importance for both of you. The meaning of the song, that it touches you and them, connected you because that song became the connecting force. Though it did not belong to you, no aspect of that song belongs to you, and yet you say, I want to dedicate this melody to the loved one. Isn't that the thought? When I understand what the act of dedicating means, this is purely everything owned by you, the field of action. Instead of dedicating it to the wife, husband, children, or anything else, dedicate it with the only priority of Bhagavan as the point of focus to be dedicated to. Anything that I do, Vishnoho Prityartham Idam Aham Karishye. This is all in dedicating to that Bhagavan alone. One of the Yuva Kendra members, by mistake, attended one of these Bhagavad Gita classes last time. And he saw what happens. And then as I was walking, he was walking along with me. And he said, Swamiji, how do you handle when somebody gives you a praise? Ego likes it. Ego loves it when somebody praises. And when somebody said, Swamiji, today's lecture was good, how do you handle it? It put me a moment pause, like I had to think. And I said, maybe it puts me in the environment, a mental makeup of pride. I said, please explain. I said, whatever is the act is an act of dedication to Gurudev. He has taught us, he has nurtured us, he has given us this platform to perform the seva of taking this knowledge and wisdom to the crowd, to the masses. And when they are praising me, it is not that they are praising me, they are praising actually inherently his vision. So whenever the praise comes, even the praise is not mine, it is praising his vision. Therefore, I think of him and I say, this is dedicated to you. You understand what dedication means? So dedicate every single act, however trivial or however magnanimous be the act, to that Bhagavan and Bhagavan alone. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Dedicated to that altar of Supreme. Then Adhyatma Chetasa, the mind to be centered within. Usually it is off center. The mind has a lopsidedness. Off-centered, why? In everything that I am acting, either I am pulled because of my likes or I am pulled away because of my dislikes. So I am always off-center. Adhyatma chetata, centered in, meaning not being influenced by either the likes or dislikes. I am performing whatever I am performing because it is purely my responsibility to perform, not because I like it or not because I dislike it, because it is a responsibility. Therefore, centered in, not distracted or pulled here and there by my own likes and dislikes. Centered within, adhyatma chetasa, nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva. Nirashihi, nirashihi, free from anxiety. Nirashihi. Nirmamaha, selflessly. See, whenever an act is to be done, why do we become anxious? We become anxious because of the anticipation of the result. Will it be according to what I am planning? And that result, if it does not happen, if I miss the mark, if I go a little away, that means that individual is going through the pressure of his own anxieties because they have not prepped well. Planning and preparing is not just about how to act. It is a comprehensive endeavor wherein I plan for how to prep, how to use my resources, how to execute these resources, and in case of I have plan A, plan B, plan C ready, that nothing takes me by shock, maybe by surprise, but I am mentally prepared for whatever be the eventuality. Thereby, I am not pushing myself into the pressure of anxiety into the heart. The moment that clarity dawns in, you build the courage to take life in your own stride, not mulled by the results of it, the anxiety of the results of it. You are not bulldozed by that emotion, but rather now you have handled it straight on by not caving in to that anxiety. Because you have now the clarity and the preparation, therefore you have the courage to face it. Many of us prepare for the action, but we are not mentally prepared for the result of it. And then get taken by shock or surprise and it goes spiraling down. Preparation should take that also into consideration. Nirashihi. Nirmamaha. Nirmamaha, it has to be done selflessly, with a thankfulness in the heart. See, when do we feel blessed? Whenever we are connected to the gratitude within, that is when the blessings flow through us out. His blessings express through us out. Gratitude for what? For having a good body, mind and intellect. Gratitude for having those resources at our dispensation. Gratitude for the opportunity to function in that particular field. Gratitude to express myself with that particular talent, skill set and potential that I have to fulfill that particular opportunity that I have. So many different layers of gratitude if we recognize. I can only be humble in not claiming that I, the ego, is performing. It is His the blessings that is functioning through. Nirmamaha. Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva. Then, yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. function in the field of action without the shivering of fear. Fear that maybe I am accepted, fear that maybe I am not accepted, fear that maybe the results will not. There are several layers of assumptions that we take to make it into a reality which they have not yet concluded. Before life can give you, you have already started assuming, and it is the burden of these assumptions that make you tremble inside. Without those shivers, courageously perform, that is when the individual, just by performing the action, they attain to tripti even when there is nobody coming to appreciate. You fulfilling your particular responsibility will give you immense tripti. That heart which has tripti, it will not be petty. It will grow to become large-hearted. You will know what to not stoop down to. You will know what not to be trembling about. Pettiness is gone. That is a crookedness of the mind. That gets released. And once that gets released, those factors that were creating turbulence, that has been eased out. So dukkha nivritti has happened. Because of the dukkha nivritti, there is stability of peace within. So how does one find peace? Apply these, and on a golden platter what we will experience is that immense unshakable peace within. And it is a feedback loop. Once you get to that stability of peace within, it feeds into your courage. And with that courage, when you go into the endeavor without any ego and dedicating it as a blessings, it again comes back to strengthen that peace. Such individuals live and function without trying to seek validation from the world, but rather with the strength of their own persona, function in every field, bringing the inner balance out as a balance in the outside as well. Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Without trembling and fear, function in the field of activity. This is the best way to grow. We will see. Oh, still have 5 minutes. Continuing in the 31st shloka. We will continue this 31st shloka tomorrow also. I will not be able to complete it in the next 5 minutes. But at least we will have the introduction. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantaha muchyante tepi karmabhihi. See, Bhagavan, whenever he is giving his opinion, he very clearly mentions, Ye me matam idam. Matam meaning opinion. See, when you go cast your vote, in Hindi, what is the word used? Casting vote. Matdan. When they are counting your vote, matganana. Mat means that vote is representing your opinion. Mata means opinion. Though I am going a little sidetracked, Therefore, the Hindu Sanatana Dharma cannot be called as a mata. It is not an opinion of an individual. The rest of them are. Therefore, they can be called as mata. Judaism, what is it? It is the mata of Moses. Islam, it is the mata of Muhammad. Christianity is the mata of Jesus. Hindu Sanatana Dharma is dharma, not a mata. It is not an opinion of an individual. It is a wisdom, age-old wisdom. Here, after having given the crux of the essence of all the scriptures in that particular chapter, in this particular subject, Bhagavan is now giving his opinion on that aspect. So therefore, he is very clearly stating, so far what I have said is the expression of the scriptures. My own conclusion on this is my opinion. Ye me matamidam nityam. This opinion of mine is those who can follow the mentioned, whatever the earlier shloka has mentioned systematically, Nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva adhyatma chetasa, when they follow it meticulously, who? Manavaha, anybody who has head on the shoulders. Irrespective of caste, creed, gender, nationality, if you are a human being, it should be applicable. And we are not asking whether you believe in it or not. See, the gravitational force, it functions whether you believe it or not. Electricity, it functions whether you have a belief in it or not. Similarly, this is a principle, Siddhanta. Whoever you are, whether you believe it or not, when you start functioning in it, you will see the benefit of it. But as you see the benefit, you reap the benefit, your own Shraddha in this philosophy, in this Siddhanta will increase. Shraddhavantaha. Your Shraddha in the system will increase. Why? It is logical, it is applicable, you see the effect of it in your own life. You don't need a book to prove it. Your own Swanubhuti helps it. In Shravana, we have 3 steps. What are the 3 steps? Shruti, what the scripture is saying. And what is the scripture presenting? Yukti, logic. Now apply the logic, what you get is called Anubhuti. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. As your Anubhuti confirms what the Shruti is saying, naturally your Shraddha in it grows. Shraddhavantaha, Anasuyantaha. Not having Asuya. Here Asuya is not jealousy, I would say pettiness of mind. What will happen if I do, you become large-hearted because you start becoming inclusive. You are not threatened by people or the hidden agendas of people, politics around. You know that that politic cannot shake you from inside out. You will stand firm on your own ground because now you have the Shraddha based on your own experience of the value system. Now you are transforming the values into virtues. The difference between value and virtue, values are that which I respect. It becomes a virtue when I am applying it and I am transforming my life through those values. Therefore, there is no pettiness. Anasuyantaha, Shraddhavantaha, Anasuyantaha. Such one they get liberated from the clutches of karma. Meaning, the bhoktritva, kartritva, asakti that is there, doership and enjoyership, that weakens, that grip weakens. I am not doing it anymore for claiming to be the doer so that I can enjoy. I am doing it for the pleasure of doing it. See, when you start getting to the level wherein you see people that have mastered music, dance, art, or even for that matter, various other skill sets, when they are immersed in it, there is a word that they use, they get into the zone. When they get into that zone, they are not doing it for any appreciation or anticipation, nothing. Because why are they engaged in it? Because it is the most joyous thing to be doing. The karma in its expression itself is the most beautiful expression, and they cherish performing the action. Tripti is not after effect. Tripti is while you are in that, you are already basking in that contentment within. See, that day when you have done something amazingly good, do you need somebody else to come and do shabashi to you? Don't you already know? It has come out awesome. It's all about it. Don't you repeat it and say it to yourself? I don't know, it came out really good. Even as you are doing it, you are wowed by your own expression. You are no more clutches of anxiety, results, appreciation. Nothing of that matters. Because you are already enjoying it. That tripti is immediate. Therefore, you are left, you are not caught in that clutches of the karma and its bad effects. We will further see it at length tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.